Have you ever paused to wonder why so many seemingly healthy elderly individuals quietly slip away before reaching their 82nd birthday? They weren't suffering from cancer, heart attacks, or dramatic accidents. No, the cause is far more insidious, silent, and tragically overlooked. Hi, I'm Dr. James, a men's health specialist with over 3 decades of clinical experience. In that time, I've helped thousands of seniors not just add years to their life, but add real life to their years. Through countless hours of research and patient care, I've uncovered a pattern that too many doctors miss entirely. And today I'm going to share one of the most vital yet ignored truths about healthy aging. But be warned, what you're about to hear might just change everything you thought you knew about growing old. What if I told you that the strongest indicator of your vitality after age 60 isn't your blood pressure, cholesterol, or even how often you hit the gym? Instead, it's something far more personal. Something many seniors have quietly abandoned, often out of shame, fear, or pure misinformation. But this overlooked factor could be the key to staying independent, mentally sharp, and full of life deep into your 80s and 90s. You don't need expensive medications, grueling exercise plans, or complicated diets to reclaim your vibrancy. The truth is, you already possess this powerful tool inside you. It's just waiting to be reawakened. Stay with me because in just a few minutes, I'll show you how to harness this natural force and apply it in your daily life with simple, proven steps. And trust me, the final insight I'll share could completely reshape the way you think about aging and about yourself. Before we dive in, take a moment to subscribe to this channel and tap the bell icon. That way you won't miss any of the valuable health insights we share, all designed to help you stay strong, vital, and fully alive. If you find this message meaningful, type 1 in the comments. And if you think there's something we could improve, type 0. Your feedback matters deeply and helps us serve you better. Now that you understand just how essential this hidden key is, let's talk about what's quietly stealing years from so many seniors, often without them realizing it. It's not what you'd expect. It's not a disease or a physical injury. It's the quiet epidemic of disconnection from physical pleasure. Let me take you into a moment I've seen repeated in my clinic more times than I can count. I sit across from a 74-year-old woman. Her blood work is fine, her heart is strong, but there's a dimness in her eyes, a quiet, lingering sadness. I ask her how she really feels, and she says, "It just feels like something inside me has gone cold." That something is what I've come to recognize as one of the most devastating, silent shifts that happen as people age, a gradual, almost invisible disconnection from their own body, from the sensations, pleasures, and touches that once made them feel gloriously alive. And here's the heartbreaking part. No one talks about it because society taught us a lie. That intimacy, touch, and sexual expression belong only to the young. That once you pass a certain birthday, those desires are foolish, shameful, or impossible. Many seniors have internalized this toxic myth. They stop seeking touch, stop enjoying their own bodies, stop believing they deserve pleasure. Some pull away due to physical changes, others from emotional pain. Some simply don't know it's not just okay, it's necessary. The result? A cascade of decline. When physical pleasure is absent, blood flow to essential organs slows. Neural pathways tied to pleasure atrophy. Hormonal balance drifts out of alignment. And little by little, the body weakens, not just in the bedroom, but in every way. Sleep suffers, mood darkens, energy fades, the immune system dulls. And suddenly, what seemed like healthy aging turns into something more dangerous, a slow, quiet erosion of vitality. I've witnessed this in countless patients, once vibrant men and women who seemed to dim from the inside out, not because their hearts gave out, but because their life force was slowly starved. Make no mistake, physical pleasure, whether shared with a partner or experienced solo, is one of the pillars of lasting human health. Abandoning it doesn't just steal joy, it steals years. But here's the good news, it's not too late. Reconnecting with your body, reawakening those forgotten sensations can trigger a deep healing process. One that renews not just your circulation and hormones, but your spirit. Imagine this. You gently touch your own skin, not in shame, but with curiosity. You allow yourself to breathe more deeply, to feel more present. And in those small acts, your body remembers. It remembers warmth. It remembers connection. It remembers aliveness. What happens next? Sleep improves. Memory sharpens. Your immune system gets stronger. You laugh more. You walk with more energy. And perhaps most importantly, you feel more like you again. That's why I urge you to stay with me. Because next, we're going to explore a topic that may surprise you but could transform your future. Why solo pleasure? Yes, even masturbation after age 60 may be one of the most important practices for your health, longevity, and joy. Still with me? If so, type 1 in the comments. Let me know you're here listening, walking this path. Because the next part of this journey, it might just change your life. We've just uncovered a surprising truth that physical pleasure, even later in life, holds a power most people underestimate. Now let's take that realization one step further, because what comes next might challenge long-held beliefs and even transform the way you think about aging, health, and your own body. You see, for many, the idea that masturbation after 60 could be essential, not optional, not shameful, but essential, might feel surprising, even uncomfortable, especially if you grew up in a culture where such topics were considered taboo, whispered about behind closed doors, or buried under layers of embarrassment. But here's the thing, biology doesn't care about cultural discomfort. Biology tells the truth even when society doesn't. And that truth is this: sexual expression is a vital force for health, especially as we age. After 60, the human body naturally undergoes a series of gradual changes. Circulation slows down. Hormonal production, particularly of testosterone and estrogen, begins to decline. Muscle tone weakens and neurological sharpness can dull. These shifts aren't failures, they're simply part of the body's aging rhythm. But what if I told you that regular sexual expression, even without a partner, could help reverse or slow many of these effects? That's exactly what research and experience shows. When seniors engage in masturbation or other forms of physical pleasure, something almost miraculous happens within the body. Blood flow increases not just to sexual organs, but to the brain, heart, and extremities. This enhanced circulation delivers vital oxygen and nutrients to tissues that might otherwise begin to deteriorate from disuse. At the same time, the brain releases a powerful wave of endorphins, your natural feel-good chemicals. These aren't just mood lifters, they're biological tools that help reduce stress, ease pain, and even support deeper, more restful sleep. And there's more. Testosterone levels, yes, even in older adults, experience a modest but important rise after regular sexual stimulation. This can help protect muscle mass, bone density, and even emotional resilience. It's not about turning back the clock, it's about helping your body age with grace and strength. But perhaps most fascinating is what happens in the brain. Neuroscientific studies have revealed that sexual pleasure stimulates multiple regions of the brain, simultaneously, regions responsible for memory, emotional regulation, and executive function. In simpler terms, sexual expression keeps your brain engaged. It sharpens thinking. It supports creativity. It nurtures a sense of purpose and presence. In my decades of medical practice, I've seen it again and again. Older patients who embraced this truth didn't just enjoy better physical health. They felt more alive. They laughed more. They smiled more. They stood taller, moved more confidently, and carried a spark in their eyes that others had quietly lost. But the benefits go deeper than biology. When someone over 60 chooses to engage in self-pleasure, they are making a profound statement, not to the world, but to themselves. They are saying, I still matter. My body still matters. My pleasure still matters. This act becomes more than physical. It becomes emotional, even spiritual. It's a way of affirming your worth, of honoring the vessel that has carried you through decades of life. It's a rejection of the myth that aging equals fading away. Instead, it's a powerful embrace of life sensation and vitality. And here's the beautiful ripple effect. I've seen patients who rediscovered this part of themselves begin to make other healthy changes. They started eating better. They joined social groups again. They moved their bodies more. They smiled more often. The emotional boost they received from reconnecting with their own sensuality acted like a spark that reignited other corners of their lives. Now you might be wondering, if the benefits are this profound, why do so many seniors struggle to maintain or even acknowledge this part of themselves? It's a good question, and the answer is both sad and simple: because they've been misled. Because our society, for all its advances, still clings to outdated and damaging beliefs about aging and intimacy. Because too many people have internalized false stories, stories that say they're too old, too fragile, or too inappropriate to care for their own pleasure. But it doesn't have to be that way. Understanding this truth is the first step. Acting on it, that's where the transformation begins. So if you've been nodding along, if something in your heart or body has stirred as you hear these words, I invite you to keep walking this path with me. Type the number 1 in the comments to let me know you're here, you're listening, and you're ready to reclaim your health from the inside out. Because next we're about to expose the hidden, deeply rooted myths, the quiet lies that have stolen vitality from countless seniors. And once you see them clearly, you'll never be able to unsee them again. Are you ready? Then let's move forward into the next vital truth. In the last part, we explored the intimate process of awakening parts of yourself. You may have long forgotten those quiet corners of your body and spirit that still yearn for connection. Now let's continue that journey with presence and patience, because this next step, awakening through mindful touch, is where the healing deepens and your inner spark begins to glow again. Imagine gently opening doors you once thought were closed forever. Doors not just to physical sensation, but to joy, confidence, and presence. This phase begins with a quiet exploration, a soft reintroduction to areas of your body you may have ignored or overlooked for years. The inner thighs, the lower belly, the chest. Not rushed or judged, just lightly touched with curiosity, as if meeting an old friend again after a long absence. What happens next is often subtle yet profound. A tingle, a warm pulse, a slight breath change. These are signs, gentle whispers from your body reminding you that it is still here, still listening, still deeply alive. You're not trying to force anything. You're simply noticing, reconnecting. Then comes the next step, focused stimulation. This is not about performance or expectation. It's about allowing your body to respond in its own time, in its own way. Using slow, intentional movements, you begin to reawaken arousal, not as a race, but as a walk through a familiar garden where every step is worthy of attention. And here's where many discover something they never expected: the depth of sensation available when you're not rushing. When you give yourself permission to slow down, your body responds differently. Warmth spreads more fully. Pleasure lingers. Arousal builds not with urgency, but with richness. You realize this isn't about reaching a destination. It's about rediscovering how much your body still wants to take you on that journey. Finally, we arrive at integration, a sacred, often overlooked step. This is the moment where you pause, breathe, thank yourself. Yes, thank yourself. Because what you've just done is more than physical. You've chosen to honor your well-being, to say to yourself, I matter. I'm worth this care. I'm still here. No matter how subtle or intense the sensations were, the real gift is what happens beneath the surface. This gentle acknowledgement, this breath of gratitude, plants the seeds of deeper healing. It's not about trying to relive the past or chase after youth. It's about fully embracing who you are right now in this chapter of life, rich with experience, strength, and softness. And when even a small spark of reconnection is felt, when you experience even a flicker of joy or curiosity or pleasure, you'll begin to understand just how much untapped potential still lives within you. Not in some far-off dream, but right here in your living, breathing body. But let's be honest, even with the right tools and the best of intentions, this path can have obstacles. The process isn't always smooth or easy. And in this next part, we'll talk about exactly that, the common challenges that arise and how to move through them with strength and grace. Because the truth is, real transformation rarely moves in a straight line. There are bumps, doubts, and moments where progress feels invisible. But knowing what to expect and how to respond can mean the difference between giving up and finally reclaiming your vitality for good. Let's talk about what to expect and how to succeed. When I guide seniors through the restoration method, I always share this. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, when frustration clouds your patience, when you feel like it's not working. And that's okay. It's not because you're doing it wrong. It's not because you're broken. It's simply part of the process. One of the biggest roadblocks, unrealistic expectations. Many seniors believe that if they follow the steps, they'll immediately feel like they did in their 20s. But when that sensation doesn't come as quickly or intensely as they hope, disappointment takes over. Here's the truth: your body has changed. That's not a failure, it's life. But success now looks different. It's measured not by intensity, but by intimacy. Not by speed, but by presence. A single new sensation, a bit more comfort, a longer moment of peace, these are victories. Another challenge is inconsistency. Just like building a muscle or healing an injury, reconnecting with your sensual self requires regular care. Practicing only when the mood strikes once a month or whenever it's convenient is like watering a plant once and expecting it to bloom. Instead, carve out time 2 to 3 times a week, not as a task, but as an act of kindness to yourself. Your body will respond, slowly maybe, gently yes, but deeply and surely. Then there's performance pressure, that silent sabotaging thought. Dom, is it working? Shouldn't I be feeling more by now? This pressure creates tension. It tightens the very areas you're trying to soften. It disconnects you from the moment. Let go of the idea that every session has to end in climax. Let go of the script. Begin instead with one goal: to feel, to breathe, to connect. That is enough. That is powerful. And finally, perhaps the most invisible yet damaging challenge: shame. Old messages may rise. This is inappropriate. I shouldn't need this. I'm too old for this. If you hear that voice, meet it not with judgment, but with compassion. That voice doesn't speak the truth. It echoes outdated fears and unhealed wounds. You are not wrong for wanting pleasure. You are not broken for needing connection. You are human, and this is part of being fully, vibrantly alive. Overcoming these hurdles isn't always easy, but it is worth every ounce of effort. Because every time you show yourself kindness, every time you stay patient and keep going, you're not just reviving your sensuality, you're restoring your spirit. And the more confidence you build, the more you'll find yourself ready to go deeper into a system designed to awaken your full health, energy, and joy, specifically in this powerful season of life. So get ready, because what's coming next might just be the most important shift you've ever made.